All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. Tough weekend to start with, especially when you had expectations to win at home, Stamford Bridge, in front of the home crowd. You know, Enzo Fernandez gets to play in front of the Stamford Bridge crowd. Mudryk as well. Valan, good to see you, man. 4 a.m. for this crap. I'm really sorry, man. And now you know sometimes how I feel, Valan. Soon it's going to come around for me again. 2 a.m. matches, 3 a.m. matches. Yesterday I did a poll post-match asking people whether they're Potter in or Potter out. Asking whether you're Potter in or Potter out. Post-match, there was close to about 900 people and 61% were Potter out. We're going to get to the Aubameyang situation. People are so appreciative of Graham Potter being so ruthless, in regards to Auba's situation. Yeah, he's ruthless. He was able to get Aubameyang out of the squad. He's not in the Champions League squad. We're going to talk about that. The 3 players that made to the Champions League squad, Joao Felix, Mudryk and Enzo, absolutely understandable. Those were the 3 that were going to get picked. But Auba's the one who got released out of the Champions League spot. And he wasn't even in the squad yesterday. And he was given the green light, like they all say, the journalists, the green light, to go to Milan and have a bit of a time off. And everyone's like, you all wanted Potter to be ruthless. Well, here you are. He's ruthless with Aubameyang. Well, how about you be ruthless to some of the players that you keep selecting on a match-to-match basis, and they consistently drop stinkers like Havertz, Mount, Gallagher. It's mad. It's actually quite mad. Yesterday, actually, even Ziyech didn't play well. Cucurella didn't play well. Defenders did very good. Silva, Buddy Shield, they did very, very good job. Oh, what is it with Graham Potter? Just selecting these players over and over again. What is it? Like, why can't Kani Chukwuemeka get a go in this midfield? Is it that difficult? Do we have to have both Mount and Gallagher? People say they don't play their roles. They don't play their natural positions. They're number 8s. Well, did they not play as number 8s? Didn't Enzo play as the deepest midfielder? And Enzo absolutely killed it. It's mad how all of these new players are coming in, and already they are so far ahead than any of the existing players that were there. They just look so much better. Enzo Fernandez, stats-wise, absolutely killed it. Ground duels, long balls, entries into the final third, like everything that you can imagine, Enzo Fernandez killed it. At home to Fulham, why does Fulham look better? That's mad. Why do they look better? Why do they look like they were going to score? When was it? It took like 75 minutes or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. It took us 75 minutes to finally get a shot on target at home. President Jafar, thank you so much for the super chat. Pottery Southgate 2.0. Like, you got to show a little bit more. You got to show a little bit more fire, man, at home. And also, 2 weeks. What was the training all about in 2 weeks? People say, okay, there was a few newcomers. The chemistry is going to be difficult to obtain, but they're players that have been there for a while. Havertz and Mason Mount have been there for a very long time. What's wrong with their chemistry? They seem like they've never played together. Havertz and Mason Mount have been together for a long time. How are they not connecting? Gallagher as well now has been part of the setup this season. How much longer does it take to understand? Gallagher's wild, man. How we didn't convince Gallagher to take up the Everton offer. We should have told Gallagher, look, you know what? You don't cut it. Clearly, it looks like Graham Potter probably said, no, I'm keeping Gallagher. What is it that Potter sees in Gallagher? To be honest, even Thomas Tuchel liked Gallagher, kept him around in the club. I guess we saw what he did in Palace and we thought, wow, you know what? He could be something. But we forget that Palace play a different style of football than Chelsea. Palace predominantly, as far as I can remember last season, were a counter-attacking team. You need a lot of this. If you want to play for Chelsea in midfield especially, you need a lot of this. You need a lot more brain than strength and just running ability. Valen, thanks so much for the super chat, my man. The French and Spanish contingent speaking players we are bringing in gives me the vibe that Zidane is potentially a backup for them to replace Potts. I mean, how long are we going to persist? What next? What's the expectation with West Ham, against West Ham? What's the expectation against Dortmund? Vivek, thanks so much for the super chat, my man. Mount Havertz Gallagher will play next week, by the way. It's mad, man. If Joao Felix doesn't come straight in, it literally is quite mad. It literally is quite mad. Stuart, 45 million for Gallagher, should have grabbed it. Yeah. How are we not convincing Gallagher to say, mate, you're not part of our plans? It seems like it's very easy for us to talk to Aubameyang and Ziyech and tell them that they're not part of the plans, but we can't seem to tell Gallagher, a player that it's quite obvious and it's quite evident, just simply isn't Chelsea caliber player. How are we hesitating to tell Gallagher, you are not part of the plan? There's an offer from Everton for 45 million that we would like to accept, and you should really concentrate on taking that opportunity. Why is it so hard to convey this message to Gallagher, but it seems to be quite easy to talk to Aubameyang and Ziyech and Pulisic and whoever else? Is Mount and Gallagher had a nice cardio yesterday. Now that Jorginho is sold, these roadrunners will be exposed left, right, and center. And it seems to be a cardio session, match in, match out. Match in, match out. It's a cardio session. And yeah, they are getting exposed. People can't even complain anymore that, those players don't play eights. They play out of position. They literally got to play number 8. And do you know what? Mount with just one pass to Havertz. That's the only thing I remember. Everything else he missed. And Gallagher, that shot in the second half. Besides that, just so many times Gallagher just holding onto the ball, just dribbling into abyss when he should be passing the ball. It's quite sad to see, man. It's quite sad to see. But I blame Graham Potter for selecting these players over Chukwuemeka. I don't understand why Chukwuemeka doesn't get a look in. Yeah, they get stuck in. They're proper Chels. They get it. People are literally happy with Mount just because he clapped after the match to all the fans. Went out and clapped. Mason Mount never misses to clap to the crowd. You can drop a stinker, but as long as you clap to the crowd, it's all okay. It's all okay. Every week, these players, Havertz as well, David Dutcher Fofana needs to get an opportunity now. I will be so shocked if Havertz also starts against West Ham. Havertz lacks the basics of a striker. Hold up play. Yes, Havertz got good movement. But brother, when the ball comes to your feet and there's defenders behind you, you got to be able to hold it up. And then one touch pass it to the wingers or the midfielders. He gets bundled over. But once again, what's Graham Potter seeing in the training ground? Or what has he seen in the past few matches with Havertz? Philippe, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Miz, I've been watching your content for a long time, and this is my first super chat. Big up, bro. And in my opinion, this Chelsea job is too big for Potter. Thank you so much, my man, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. He's got to shake things up. He really does have to shake things up, Graham Potter. Obviously, Joao Felix has to come in. It doesn't make sense if he doesn't start straight away. You know, you bring in a player in the caliber of Joao Felix with that much money spent on loan as loan fee. Joao Felix has to come in. Whether it's Mount, whether it's Gallagher, I would have to say it's Mount. And Mount as well. Like, poor Mudryk. Poor Mudryk is getting so much blame post-match from certain parts of the fan base who don't understand football, going around complaining about Mudryk. Have a look at the heat map. Have a look at where Mount's meant to be an 8, as I remember, right? He's meant to be in midfield. Why was he at times well ahead of Mudryk? Mudryk was literally playing as a left wing back. And poor Mudryk, poor Mudryk is copying their blame from the fan base that, oh, I don't know about this Mudryk, brother. Really? Really? Why is Mount in Mudryk's areas? Why isn't Mount closer to Enzo? Why are these brothers who are claiming... I hate when I hear these players say, my best position is number 8. I'm a number 8. Do you even know what a number 8 is? Do you even understand the role? Has anyone actually sat down with any of these brothers and actually talked about what is your role? Forget about the number. These guys are too focused on, I'm a number 8. You don't even know what that role means. As soon as Enzo had the ball or the defenders had the ball, all of these brothers were like bombing forward and taking positions right next to the opposition defenders. Just leaving the defenders to do everything and leaving Enzo to do everything. Just bomb the ball forward. Mudryk's game was neutralized. Mudryk's game was destroyed. Mudryk did not get to breathe on that left side because Mount kept on operating on that side. Why? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? President Jafar, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Potter better be careful. Bowley looking agitated. Yeah, look. Is it going to be all right, ladies and gentlemen? Is it going to be all right? I believe the next game against West Ham, away from home. Is that away from home? Next game? I'm pretty certain it's away from home. Is it going to be an easy match against West Ham? What's the expectation against West Ham? Can we expect to win? Can we expect to win? or we should just stay patient. Even if it's a draw, even if it's a loss, just stay patient. Surely, the owners, there will come a time where they'll be like, do you know what? It's not. I'm telling you, if we get knocked out from the Champions League, that will be a shame. We will be a laughing stock. We are already a laughing stock. You know, we buy all of these players, spend all of that money, and Fulham look far more organized. At least we should look organized. At least we should have a plan how we're going to encounter Fulham. I understand Marco Silva. How long has Marco Silva been at Fulham? Couple of seasons? How long has Marco Silva been at Fulham? I'm pretty certain last season and this season, right? Marco Silva took them last season. Is that right? Musa, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Mount fans will say he was tasked to support Mudryk on the left because Cucurella wasn't overlapping. P.S. He still did not even help at that. Yeah, no. Yeah, 2. Valan's saying 2. 2 years. Marco Silva's been there for 2 years. Last season in the Championship and this season in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? I'm not asking for the world from Graham Potter, but I'm asking at least what's the plan to encounter these teams? What's going to be the plan against West Ham? What will be the plan? What will be the plan? What will be the plan against Dortmund? I'm telling you, if Graham Potter doesn't get a tune out of all these ballers that we now have, he'll have nowhere to hide. He'll have nowhere to hide. Absolutely nowhere to hide. Do you know what I mean? Why the Chelsea fan base moaning this season? It's a pre-season where Potter got the players and people on Havertz and Mount. You need to support your team on Potter out. A joke. The Chelsea fan, a joke. Okay. It's a pre-season, ladies and gentlemen. The entire season is a pre-season. The entire season is a pre-season. Wow. The luxury that we have. These players let TT down, so let's wait till we get these players out in summer, and then we'll see if we improve. Otherwise, it'll be the same fringe, a manager, and then trying to get rid of players signed by him. Yeah. Potter's got to make some tough decisions, man. He really does need to make some tough decisions. I guess even with Ziyech, I think someone like Mudryk, he's the future. Like there is no future with Ziyech, right? So, you know, keep Ziyech in the bench and use Mudryk. You got to be ruthless, and ruthless just with Aubameyang ain't gonna cut it. Potter needs to pick up victories, man, or else I'm worried for his job safety. I really am. You saw how Todd Bowley reacted yesterday. You know, every time we were close to scoring or whatever, and it didn't happen, he was like, do you know what I mean? If Potter doesn't get 3 points against West Ham, wow. Are we going to go on this run again? Are we going to go on this crazy run that we had before the Palace victory? Potter is rubbish. Average manager like Mount, average player. I want Potter out from the starting. Why Potter out? Put Enzo is that place. Lock Enzo attacking ability. Why Mount playing Mudryk position? See, I don't get. Look, I don't mind Enzo playing as the deepest midfielder, but I'd really wanted a player like Chukwuemeka next to him. Why don't we think about, how are players like Gallagher playing 90 minutes, man? That's madness. David Dutra Fofana probably needs to feature. Havertz probably needs to, sit down. And also, was it wise? Is it wise to have a player like Aubameyang be absolutely abolished and someone like Havertz trying to play as a striker who can't do anything? Well, I get it. I understand you fancy Havertz more than Aubameyang, but do you sometimes have to just, accept the fact that maybe Auba could do a better job up front because he's the striker? It's about picking up the 3 points. It's not really about who I fancy and who I don't. It's not about personal choice. How isn't Potter telling Havertz that maybe you're not going to be part of the squad for this game, and I'm instead going to use Auba? What is it that Havertz provides a lot more that potentially Auba can't? Havertz just can't score goals, man. Havertz can't score goals. People will tell you, we've in our last 3 matches, we've beaten teams with XG. People get so excited about this XG. Eventually it will turn around. Eventually, if you're exceeding your XG, it means sooner or later you're going to bang in the goals. Well, you're not going to bang in any goals with Havertz, my man. I'm telling you right now. He ain't no striker. He doesn't have that striker's instinct, that killer ability. He's got good movement. He gets into good areas, but he ain't no striker to finish things off. He's just not that clinical. He's not ruthless enough. He's not hungry enough. So why not have Aubameyang? Okay, fine. You don't want Auba. All right. Now you've seen a little bit of David Dutra Fofana. Are you going to have the balls to perhaps start David Dutra Fofana against West Ham? David Dutra Fofana looked half decent. At least he looked like a striker. Valen, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm going to give Potter one last chance. If I see Havertz and Mount start against West Ham, I'll be more prone to not watching us until he or Mount's gone. I have a feeling both Havertz and Mount are probably going to start, even with Joao Felix. Mount's probably just going to take Gallagher's position. But I don't even think that's good enough. That's Mount's going to have to be able to be there next to Enzo, which I feel like he tends to run away. Mount shows no interest in the first phase. Mount wants to be in the final phase. I keep saying, this brother needs to be deeper. He needs to be deeper, but he doesn't want to. Yet he wants to claim that he's a number 8. I-Test, thank you so much for the super chat. Sacked Tooks after 260 million. Now sacked Potter 269 million. Oh, sacked Tuku after 260 million. Now sacked Potter after 269 million. Yeah, man. Look, I don't know. I'm not saying get rid of him right now, but if you're not picking up points, then what's the point? But thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Look at Erik ten Hag and Sancho. He took Sancho out from the limelight and gave him time to get back to a good headspace. Then you have Potter playing Mount. It's true. And this is the madness, ladies and gentlemen. How's Erik ten Hag walking into the Man United job and getting the tune out of those players? How's Erik ten Hag able to do that? Erik ten Hag seems to be able to compete with the top clubs. Got a victory against Man City. Got a victory against Arsenal earlier on. I'm pretty sure he got a victory against Liverpool as well. How's Eric Ten Hag? A lot of people will say he had a preseason. But it's not like Man United didn't have their tumultuous moments as well. Man United had enough tumultuous situations. Cristiano Ronaldo being one. Look at all the stuff that's happening with Mason Greenwood right now. Sancho, Harry Maguire. Like, they've got their issues as well. And Man United got hammered the first few games of the season, and they quickly turned that around. And boy, did they turn it around. Graham Potter, I mean, look, I thank him for what he did with the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? He really turned that one around. But now it seems like he's in a bit of a rut and he can't seem to get out of it. He just can't seem to get out of it. Okay, fine. We're not. I guess one of the positives is we're not conceding goals. 3 clean sheets. But there seems to be no venom when it comes to attack. Tim B, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Every single game can't be a referendum on Potter. Every single game can't be a referendum on Potter. Okay, then what should it be? What should it be? It's not like we've been doing this on day one from Potter. Like, I think context needs to be applied that how many wins have we picked up in our past 10, 11 games from the Premier League? I mean, are some of the fans, are we mad to ask or to pose this question? I'm pretty certain we've only won 2 games out of the past like 11 or 12 Premier League games. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, there you go, 2. We won 2. Is that even in a process, even in a project, is that acceptable? Is that okay? Should we just be okay with it? Two weeks off to prepare for Fulham, and you get the benefit of having a baller like Enzo as well coming in. Like, the new players should not be an excuse. The new players are actually a positive because they're damn better than the existing players. But 2 weeks off to prepare for Fulham, what happened in the training ground? What was the plan? How were we meant to tackle Fulham? If anything, in the second half, Fulham probably should have probably looked better. Um, 2 weeks off and no tactics. Potter masterclass. Only Potter could remind you about the position we're in. Nothing happened. It's like preseason. If we're playing like this towards the end of the season, then we should be concerned. Potter is a Mo's type manager. He can look good with smaller teams, but he just doesn't have what it takes to step up to the Chelsea level. Give this squad to Arteta or Xavi, and we are balling out, Ms. Potter Villas Boyas. Our tactics was long ball and pray for goal. I will make this tactic. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Do you think Potter should get sacked at the end of the season if we finish 10th or lower, despite others claiming this is a preseason? I say yes. What? How can we finish the season at 10th with still 17 games remaining, with the caliber of players that we have and that we should have in our disposal from next week. Joao Felix comes back. How is it okay to finish 10th? I think majority of us are not even saying top 4, but at least come 6th. We understand it's been a very, very bad start, but to say that just keep doing this and it's a preseason, just let it roll, that's mad. What's the if this is a preseason, what's the expectation for the Champions League? Get eliminated against Dortmund? Just get knocked out? Why even show up? Why even show up against Dortmund? Might as well just put up the white flag and just go, do you know what? We surrender. Tim B, thank you so much for the super chat. Blame this loss on Gallagher and Mount. They killed our attack. Potter hasn't shown enough, but I believe that we've got to give him the season first. I've got no issues with giving him the season. I've got issues if he doesn't make us better game by game. I've got issues when at home, your first shot on target was at 75th minute against Fulham. It's mad. Yeah, look, I mean, the bar isn't that high. The bar really isn't that high. 6th is the minimum for him to stay. Sixth. And when you remember Eddie Howe, when he took over Newcastle, he took over Newcastle when Newcastle were in the relegation zone. Fast forward 12 months, Newcastle are a top 4 club. They're 3rd, and they're looking so good. It's not like, yeah, Newcastle did buy some decent players, Bruno Guimaraes being one, Kieran Trippier being one. But it's not like they've got an Enzo Fernandez in their team and they've got, a Mudryk, this, that, the other. Eddie Howe was able to get a tune out of players that we thought were rubbish, like Miguel Almiron. A few of the other players are starting to look good as well. Longstaff is starting to look good. Do you know what I mean? How's Eddie Howe doing this? What's the difference? Do we not have better facilities? Are Newcastle just that much better than us? Eric Ten Hag, as I said. Eric Ten Hag is another one. How's he just coming in and just doing the bits for Man United? I just don't understand how Graham Potter, every single match day for so long, watches Havertz, Mount, and Gallagher and still keeps persisting on picking them. What is actually going through Potter's mind about these 3 players? Chukwuemeka should be getting a chance, more than a chance. Putting Lewis Hall in midfield if you have to, as opposed to Conor Gallagher. Do you know what I mean? But thank you so much for the super chat. Flick or Gallardo are my candidate to replace Potts. A lot of people have been talking about Gallardo, ex River Plate manager. It's got a bit of credibility. English bias, man. It really is. It really is. And you'll see no journalists are talking about Gallagher and Mount. No journalists. But you'll see Havertz's name being floated out. His name is getting floated out there that he's going to get sold. Ziyech's name gets floated out there that he's going to get sold. Pulisic's name gets floated out there that he's going to get sold. But Gallagher and Mount, no one wants to talk down about them. Strange, man. It's strange. Easy money sniper. We had a full squad yesterday. No excuses. 95 minutes, 2 shots on target. It's quite ridiculous, man. I don't know why I thought, and maybe it was the buzz, the fantastic window that we had and the madness that the owners did. I just had this great feeling, and I'm pretty sure you guys can relate as well. A lot of you guys were having this really fantastic feeling at home. The individual quality is more than enough to beat Fulham, but the way and how we were so underwhelming, it was crazy. It was crazy. Willian outplayed some of our own players. Willian was spinning past Gallagher, Mount, Reece James as well, but Reece James is just coming back from injury. We know it takes a little bit of time for Reece James to settle in. I've got no doubt after a couple of matches we're gonna see the Reece James of old, as long as he doesn't get injured again. Willian looked great. Palinha, wow. Andres Pereira for Fulham looked good. All I'm going to say that Graham Potter needs to start delivering wins, man. I'm telling you, he needs to start delivering wins. He's got to get a victory against West Ham, and then he's got to see us through against Dortmund. Just pick up the 3 points. Just pick up the victories. Doesn't always need to be pretty, but you got to figure out a way how you can beat opposition, because right now it doesn't look like we can beat any opposition. Do you know how silly it's going to start looking when all of these players that we got in, Joao Felix, now Raheem Sterling is back from injury as well, Mudryk, Enzo. You know how silly it's going to look if we still don't start picking up wins. I don't think we can blame the players anymore. I really don't think we can blame the players anymore. Like Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez's stats? I'm going to read out to you. 6 out of 7 long balls, 5 out of 6 tackles. People say he can't play as the deepest midfielder. He doesn't have the defensive quality. 5 out of 6 tackles won. 10 recoveries, 10 out of 12 duels, and 1 key pass. Like, I get it. Being the deepest midfielder isn't his best, the best way to get out of his, the proper skill set out of him. But he's the complete package. Wait till he actually gets to play either alongside Kovacic or Kante down the track. It'll be a double pivot and they'll take turns. Kova will sit back at times and Enzo will bomb forward and try and ping those passes to our attacking players. Or sometimes Kova will go up and Enzo can, do the build up. But these two players, Mount and Gallagher next to Enzo, I really thought they were going to lift. I thought a player like Enzo, they're going to thrive. They're going to thrive to play alongside Enzo. But they seem like they wanted to run away from Enzo. They're all the way in the front, occupying half spaces. I thought you guys were 8s. It's mad. It's actually mad. Cucurella as well, man. Cucurella, he needs to pattern up. Graham Potter needs to look at all of these videos for all of these players and actually sit down with them and actually explain what he wants out of them. And if he can't see it, I'm telling you, he's not going to pick up the wins. And most of these Premier League sides, most of these Premier League teams, they're very, very good. They're very good. And he's going to find it difficult to win matches. And if you don't pick up wins, I don't know how long the new owners will stay patient and be okay by staying at 10th. Aston Villa's hot on our heels. We could potentially be 11th. That's all I'm going to say. Sai Krishna is sharing something. Potter on the draw. It's a step up for us. Oh my God. You can't say these kind of things, man. It's a step up for us. Getting a draw against Fulham at Stamford Bridge is a step up for us. Wow. Wow. When was the last time you ever heard a Chelsea manager say that's a step up for us? That's a step up for us? This guy, this is Brighton conversation, man. This is talking like a Brighton manager. This is what you would say if you're a Brighton manager. And even Brighton don't say this. Even Roberto De Zerbi doesn't even say this anymore. I don't know where these, like, I don't know where Graham Potter thinks what type of a squad we are. I don't understand. I don't get it. I understand it. We have to be patient. I understand it requires some gelling period. I get it. But getting a draw at home at Stamford Bridge against Fulham, it's a step up for us. Oh, my goodness, man. Oh, look, there's in Tuchel time we could see training sessions. We need to see Potter training. It's getting worse. Look, all I'm going to say is you better get the victory against West Ham, man. You better get the victory against West Ham, because if we don't get the victory against West Ham, then what are we doing, man? What are we doing? What's the purpose? We don't get the victory against Fulham. We don't get the victory against West Ham. Then we face Dortmund. Then we don't win against Dortmund. Well, what's the point? What's the point? Where's the direction? What is this? What is this? Should we just pack the bags up for this season? Look for it's all going to magically materialize next season. It's all going to click next season. Are you kidding me? President Jafar, thank you so much for the super chat. I would take back Benitez over Potter right now. Not going to lie. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Stuart G. Potter disgraceful attitude. I'm amazed at step up remark. Baffled, man. I'm baffled. All right, Lejeune, I'm going to let you guys go now. It's quite sickening, man. We'll see what we can do next week against West Ham. Smash up the like button, ladies and gentlemen, before you go. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to keep in touch with all my content. I just hope Everton gets something out of Arsenal now. That's the only thing that's going to make me happy. I hope. Sean Dyche football, man. Come on. Till then, take care. See ya.